My son put his hands on me in front of everybody at that birthday party. Left me broke, locked up in a facility like I was losing my mind. But Deandra had no idea what his old man had planned. No idea at all. Got my name as Marcus Washington. And, at 71 years old, I never thought my own flesh and blood would do me like this. That Sunday afternoon still plays in my mind like a bad movie, even though 3 months have passed. I was sitting in my study going over the books for my barbershop, the one I opened after retiring from 35 years, teaching history at Booker T. Washington High School here in Atlanta. After my wife Lorraine passed 5 years back, that barbershop became my sanctuary, my reason to get up in the morning. It wasn't much, but between that and my pension from all those years molding young minds, I was living comfortable. Had my dignity intact. Before I go any further, hit that like button for your boy. Subscribe to the channel and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. I want to know. The doorbell rang twice quick, impatient. That was Deandra's style. Always in a rush. I adjusted my reading glasses and got up slow, these 71-year-old knees reminding me they ain't what they used to be. Pops, why you take so long? Deandra pushed past me soon as I cracked the door open. My son, 45 years. Old, hairline receding despite all that expensive treatment. Wearing a suit that probably cost more than I made in 2 months at the shop. Sorry, son. I was handling business in the study. I reached out for a hug. He gave me one of them half hugs, quick pat on the back, like he was late for something more important. We need to talk about something serious, Pops. His voice had that corporate tone he picked up working at that marketing firm downtown. He headed straight to the living room without waiting for me to invite him in. I followed him, watching as he pulled some papers from his leather briefcase. He sat down in Loren's favorite chair, the one I still couldn't bring myself to move, and spread documents across my coffee table. Pops, I've been thinking about your situation. You out here living alone in this big house, running that barbershop when you should be relaxing, enjoying your golden years. He gestured to the spot next to him. I sat down and looked at the papers. Legal documents with notary seals and fancy letterhead. What's all this, Deandra? He pulled out a pen, one of them expensive ones. It's simple. Power of attorney so I can handle your assets. For your own good, Pops. At your age, you shouldn't have to worry about all this paperwork and business decisions. I picked up my glasses from around my neck and started reading. I didn't spend 35 years teaching young folks how to read between the lines of history for nothing. I could spot manipulation when I saw it. This ain't just power of attorney, son. This here is transferring ownership of my house and my shop into your name. His expression shifted just a little, a twitch at the corner of his mouth. It's for protection, Pops. If something happens to you, everything stays in the family. No complications. Protected from what? From who? Deandra sighed like I was the one being difficult. From taxes. From probate court. From all that legal mess. It's what's best for everybody. Best for everybody or best for you? I put the papers back down on that table. I'm not signing this, son. He stood up quick, his jaw tight. Always so stubborn. Can't you see I'm trying to help you? You want to help me? Come visit more. Bring Zara around. I ain't seen my grandbaby in 6 months. Zara's busy with school, and I'm busy with work. He was stuffing them papers back in his briefcase with jerky movements. Just think about it, Pops. I'm not asking for much. I'll think about it, I lied, trying to keep the peace. Why don't you stay for dinner? I can throw something together. His face softened just a touch. Can't today. But there's something else. Next Sunday, we're having a family gathering for Jasmine's birthday. We want you there. Now, that was strange. It had been over a year since they invited me to anything. Ever since Jasmine started treating me like I was some burden, with that fake smile barely hiding her contempt. Of course I'll be there, I said, genuinely pleased. Wouldn't miss it. Good. We'll expect you at 1 o'clock. He headed for the door. And bring them signed papers, Pops. Would be a nice gift for everyone. After he left, I stood there staring at that closed door. Something wasn't right. That feeling you get in your gut when you've lived long enough to know better, it was screaming at me to watch my back. Come Sunday, I showed up right on time at Deandra and Jasmine's house in Buckhead, one of them fancy neighborhoods with more square footage than sense. I always wondered how they afforded a place like that on his salary, but I minded my business about their finances. I rang the doorbell holding a gift for Jasmine, a first edition of Toni Morrison's Beloved that I'd gotten for the shop but decided to give to her, even though I knew it would probably just sit on a shelf for show. The door swung open, and there she was. Jasmine Hayes, with her perfectly styled hair, calculating smile, and a dress that cost more than all my living room furniture combined. Mr. Washington, what a surprise you actually came. That fake sweet tone made my skin crawl. Happy birthday, Jasmine. I handed her the package. Deandra invited me. Hope I'm not intruding. Not at all. Come on in. Everyone's out back. I followed her through that showcase house to the backyard, where an elegant setup waited. Maybe 20 people scattered around, most of them strangers. Probably Jasmine's friends, or Deandra's co-workers from that firm. Then I saw her dot my granddaughter Zara sitting in a corner, eyes glued to her phone. At 17, she looked just like her grandmother Lorraine. Same deep brown skin, same expressive eyes that could see right through you. When she spotted me, her whole face lit up. Granddad! She jumped up and ran over, throwing her arms around me. I hugged her tight, feeling my heart swell up. I didn't know you'd be here, baby girl. I've missed you so much, she whispered. They don't let me visit you anymore. Before I could ask why, Deandra appeared with a drink in his hand. Pops, good to see you made it. You bring what I asked for? Zara looked between us, then stepped back when her father gave her a look. Deandra, I haven't signed those papers. We need to talk more about this. His smile froze on his face. Now's not the time, Pops. We got guests. We'll talk after we eat. The party continued with that cold politeness that marks gatherings where nobody really wants to be there. I sat next to Zara, who whispered to me about school, her friends, her dream of studying journalism at Spelman, just like I'd taught history at Booker T. Your granddad was the best teacher in Atlanta, I told her with pride. Still got students who come by the shop asking for book recommendations. I'd love to come help you there on weekends, she said, longing in her voice. While we talked, I noticed Deandra and Jasmine's glances. They watched our conversation with obvious irritation. After dessert, Deandra stood up and tapped his glass with a spoon to get everyone's attention. Dear friends and family, thank you for celebrating with us today, he said, looking at Jasmine with a practiced smile. But besides my beautiful wife's birthday, we have another reason to toast. He looked directly at me. Cold ran down my spine. My father has finally decided to fully retire. He's transferring management of his assets to us, so he can rest like he deserves. The guests applauded while I sat there frozen. What are you doing, Deandra? I didn't, I started to say, but he cut me off, walking over with the same documents from before. Right here, Pops. We can sign it now. Everyone here can witness this moment. The tension was thick enough to cut. Every eye in that backyard was on me. Even Zara looked confused. I'm not signing that, son. My voice came out stronger than I expected. Deandra's face transformed. What did you say? I said no. It's my house. My shop, my life. I don't need anybody managing what's mine. Jasmine stepped forward with her tight smile. Mr. Washington, don't be difficult. It's for your own good. At your age, at my age, I can still make my own decisions, Jasmine. And my answer is no. Deandra slammed the papers on the table. His face was red, veins popping in his neck. You always been selfish, Pops. Always thinking about yourself. Selfish? Me? Who raised you by myself after your mama passed? Who worked 2 jobs to put you through Morehouse? The guests started shifting, uncomfortable. Some headed inside the house. Enough! Deandre slammed his fist on the table. You're ruining Jasmine's party. You ruined it by trying to ambush me like this. I stood up. I'm going home. I took 2 steps and felt Deandre's hand clamp down hard on my arm. I turned to face him. That's when it happened. His fist connected with my jaw. The blow sent me stumbling backward, and I hit the ground. Blood filled my mouth as Zara's screams pierced the air. Granddad, Dad, what have you done? Deandra stood over me, breathing hard, fists still clenched. Jasmine grabbed his arm, not to stop him, but to keep him from going further. That's enough, Deandra, she hissed. There are witnesses. Zara dropped to her knees beside me, crying, trying to help me up with a napkin pressed against my bleeding lip. Don't worry, baby girl, I said softly. I'm all right. I got to my feet, refusing the hand one of the guests offered. I looked my son dead in the eyes. I never thought you'd stoop this low, Deandra. Your mama would be ashamed. His eyes flashed with rage again, but Jasmine held him firm. You better leave, Mr. Washington, she said in that controlled voice. You've caused enough of a scene. Let me walk you out, Granddad, Zara pleaded. No, Jasmine snapped. You're staying, Zara. Your grandfather can leave by himself. I walked toward the exit with all the dignity I could pull together, feeling every eye on me. Before I crossed that threshold, I looked back one last time at my granddaughter, crying silently, and at my son with his back turned. I didn't know then that this was just the beginning, that the worst was still coming. That punch was just a preview of the betrayal waiting for me. I went home with a broken heart and a swollen face, never imagining that soon I wouldn't even have a home to return to Dot in my head. Loren's words from before she died echoed back. Watch out for folks who smile at you while counting your possessions. Marcus, real love don't come with a calculator. Lord, was my Lorraine right? How right she was. 3 days passed since the incident at Deandre's. My lip was still swollen, and a yellowish bruise decorated my right cheek. I hadn't left the house, hadn't even opened the barbershop. I felt humiliated, betrayed by my own blood. The phone rang several times, but I didn't answer. Didn't have the strength to talk to nobody. I was making coffee when I heard knocking at the door, not the doorbell, but knuckles rapping soft against the wood. I looked through the peephole cautiously. It was Zara Dot. My granddaughter stood there with her school backpack, worry written all over her young face. I opened the door immediately. Zara, what you doing here? I had to see you, Granddad. She stepped inside quickly. I was so worried. Her eyes filled with tears when she saw my bruised face. You weren't answering your phone, and I? You shouldn't have come alone, baby girl. Your parents don't know you here. She dropped her backpack on the floor. I told them I was studying at a friend's house, but I needed to see you, make sure you were okay. I led her to the kitchen and poured her some juice. She sat in the same chair where she used to sit when she was little, and I'd read her stories while Lorraine cooked. What Dad did was horrible, she said suddenly. I've never seen him like that. I sighed deep. People change, Zara. Sometimes money and ambition. It's not just that. She lowered her voice like someone might overhear us. Dad and Mom have problems. Big financial problems. What kind of problems? Money. I overheard Mom on the phone. Something about mortgage, loans they can't pay. She said if they don't get money fast, they could lose everything. A chill ran through me. Now I understood the sudden interest in my property. That's why they wanted me to sign. To pay off their debts with my assets. Zara nodded slowly. I think so. Mom's been selling her jewelry. They let the housekeeper go. And I heard their credit card got declined paying for my tuition next semester. I rubbed my temples, trying to process it all. My son, who'd always been ambitious but never dishonest, was now willing to strip me of everything to save his lifestyle. Granddad, I'm scared. Zara's voice brought me back. Mom says horrible things about you when she thinks I can't hear. She says you're a stubborn old man who could help them but would rather watch them sink. Jasmine never liked me much, baby girl. Since she married your daddy, she's been trying to pull him away from me. But now it's different. They're desperate. Zara took my hand. I'm afraid of what they might do. I squeezed her hand, trying to give reassurance. Don't worry. Nobody can force me to do something I don't want to. This house is where your grandmother and I raised your father, where we built our memories. I won't sell it to pay debts they got living beyond their means. The doorbell rang, making us both jump. This time it was the doorbell, ringing insistent and demanding. You expecting somebody? Zara asked, suddenly nervous. No, I stood up. Stay here. I went to the door and looked through the peephole. Deandra, Jasmine, and a white man in a suit carrying a briefcase. Pops, I know you in there. Open up. Deandre's voice sounded authoritative, demanding. I took a breath and opened the door. What do you want, Deandra? His gaze landed on my injured face. No remorse showed, just discomfort at being reminded of what he'd done. We came to talk. This is Mr. Sullivan, my attorney. The man with the briefcase extended his hand. I didn't take it. Mr. Washington, I'm your son's legal counsel. We're here to discuss an important matter. I got nothing to discuss with you. I tried to close the door, but Deandra blocked it with his foot. It's about your health. Pops, we're concerned. His fake concerned tone made my stomach turn. My health? Since when you concerned about my health? After you put your hands on me in front of all your friends? About that, Deandra started, but Jasmine cut him off. Mr. Washington, we understand you're upset, but your behavior the other day confirms our concern. You're not well. You need help. The only help I need is for y'all to leave me alone. Pops. Deandre's voice softened, trying a different approach. I talked to a specialist. Your erratic behavior, your memory issues, your aggression, these are signs of dementia. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Dementia? Me? What are you talking about? Ain't nothing wrong with my mind. That's part of the illness, sir, the attorney jumped in. The denial, the irritability. Your son only wants what's best for you. What's best for me or what's best for him and his debts? I stared at them hard. Zara told me everything. The three exchanged surprised looks. Zara? What does she have to do with this? Jasmine's voice went tight. Before I could answer, Zara appeared behind me. I'm here, Mom. I came to check on Granddad after what you did to him. Jasmine's face twisted with rage. How dare you come here without permission? We specifically told you not to see your grandfather. Why? Zara challenged. Because it ruins your plans? Because I tell him the truth about what I hear at home? Deandra grabbed Zara by the arm. We're leaving. Right now. You're grounded. Let her go. I stepped between them. Don't you put your hands on her? She's my daughter. I decide what happens with her. Deandre's voice was cold. Just like I'm your father. But that don't give you the right to decide about me or my assets. The attorney cleared his throat uncomfortably. Mr. Washington, I have a court order here for a mandatory psychiatric evaluation. Your son has presented evidence of mental decline, and the judge has deemed his intervention necessary. He handed me a document. My hands trembled as I took it. It was real. A court order requiring me to undergo evaluation with a court-appointed psychiatrist. This is wrong, I said quietly. This is a trap. It's for your own good, Pops. Deandra tried to sound reasonable. If you're really fine like you say, the evaluation will prove it. No problem. And in the meantime, what happens to my shop? My house? I'll take care of everything temporarily until your mental capacity is determined. He smiled slightly. It's what's best for everyone. I was cornered. If I refused, it would just make their case stronger. All right, I finally said. I'll do the evaluation. But I want my own doctor present. The judge has already appointed the specialist, Mr. Washington, the attorney said. It's not possible to change that. When is this evaluation? Tomorrow at 10 in the morning. Deandra checked his watch like he had somewhere more important to be. We'll pick you up. I can get there myself. I still know how to call an Uber. We insist on accompanying you, Mr. Washington, Jasmine said with fake sweetness. It's the least we can do. Zara looked at me with pleading eyes. I knew what she was thinking. It was a trap. But I saw no way around it without making things worse. Fine, tomorrow at 10. And you, young lady? Jasmine grabbed Zara's arm. We're leaving. Right now. We'll discuss your disobedience at home. I don't want to go, Zara protested. I want to stay with Granddad. That's not happening. Deandre's voice left no room for argument. Say goodbye. Zara hugged me tight. Be careful, Granddad, she whispered in my ear. Don't trust them. Not even the doctor. I hugged her back, feeling a lump in my throat. I'll be fine, baby girl. Don't you worry about me. The three of them left, practically dragging Zara away. I stood at the door, watching them drive off in Deandre's luxury car I now understood he probably couldn't afford. I closed the door and leaned against it, my legs feeling weak. I needed help. But who could I turn to? Most of my friends had passed or were as old as I was. My brother lived in California, and we barely kept in touch. Then I remembered Jerome Banks, my college roommate from Morehouse, now a respected attorney specializing in elder law. We hadn't talked in months, but if anyone could help me, it was him. I found his number and dialed with shaking fingers. After 3 rings, his familiar voice answered. Hello? Jerome, it's Marcus. Marcus Washington. Marcus. Brother, how you doing? Been a minute. Not too good, Jerome. I need your help. It's urgent. Brief silence. Of course, man. Anything you need. What's going on? Rather not talk over the phone. Can you come by my place today if possible? I'm in the middle of a case, but I can swing by around 6. What's this about? It's serious, brother. More than you can imagine. I think my son is trying to have me declared incompetent to take my assets. Longer silence this time. I'll be there at 6 sharp. Don't open the door for nobody else until then. Thanks, Jerome. I hung up and looked at the clock. 2 in the afternoon. 4 hours to prepare, to think, to gather information. I went to my study and started pulling documents, house deed, barbershop papers, bank statements, medical records proving my good health. As I organized everything, I couldn't stop thinking about Zara. Caught in the middle of this mess. At exactly 6 o'clock, the doorbell rang. Jerome, punctual as always. When I opened the door, his expression changed, seeing my bruised face. Good Lord, Marcus. What happened to you? My son hit me 3 days ago at his wife's birthday party. In front of everybody. Jerome stepped inside and closed the door. His face showed indignation and concern. Tell me everything. From the beginning. Over the next hour, I told him the whole story. Deandre's first visit with the documents, the party, the punch. And today's visit with the attorney and court order about Jerome took notes and reviewed the documents I showed him, especially the psychiatric evaluation order. I don't like this, Marcus. They've moved way too fast. Too fast to be legitimate. So what can I do? For now, take the evaluation. If you refuse, you'll only strengthen their case. Jerome looked at me hard. But you won't go alone. I'll accompany you as your legal representative. They can't stop me. What if the doctors bought off? Zara warned me not to trust him. Your granddaughter's smart. Jerome smiled slightly. It's possible they found a compliant doctor. But I know several psychiatrists who could give an independent second opinion. Problem is, we need time. Time is what I don't have. The evaluation's tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be here at 9:30 to go with you. Jerome put away his notes. Don't sign anything, no matter what they tell you. Not a single piece of paper without me reviewing it first. I nodded, feeling for the first time in days that I wasn't completely alone. Thanks, Jerome. I don't know how to repay you. We've been brothers for 50 years, Marcus. Nothing to repay. He stood to leave. Keep your phone close. If anything happens before tomorrow, call me immediately. Don't matter what time. After Jerome left, I felt slightly better. At least I had an ally now. Someone to help me fight this injustice. That night, trying to fall asleep, the phone rang. Almost midnight, I answered with my heart pounding. Granddad? It's me. Zara's voice, scared and whispering. Zara, what's wrong? You okay? I overheard Dad and Mom talking. They're not taking you to any evaluation tomorrow. What you mean? They're taking you straight to a nursing facility, Granddad. They already have everything arranged with the director. They're going to lock you up by force. The air left my lungs. You sure about what you heard? Completely. Mom was saying it's the only way to get control of your assets quickly. That once you're inside, it'll be easy to get a doctor there to certify you're incompetent. My God, you have to leave, Granddad. Hide somewhere. Don't let them take you. I can't run, baby girl. That would only make things worse. Make it look like I really ain't losing my mind. But Granddad, don't worry. I already talked to an attorney. An old friend. He's coming with me tomorrow. Silence on the other end. It won't be enough. I heard Dad say they'll use force if necessary. A shiver ran through me. Force? Something about orderlies who'll be ready for any resistance. I heard a noise on her end like a door opening. I gotta go, Zara whispered quickly. I love you, Granddad. Please be careful. The call ended, leaving me in terrifying silence. I immediately called Jerome, who answered with a sleepy voice. Marcus? What's wrong? I quickly told him what Zara had said. His voice changed, becoming alert. Damn them. This is completely illegal, Marcus. Listen carefully. I'm coming over right now. Don't open the door for anyone else. And pack a bag with essentials. If they try something like that, we need to be prepared. What can we do? If they got a court order, the order is for an evaluation, not involuntary commitment. That requires a different legal procedure. They're trying to bypass all protocols. I heard movement on his end, like he was getting dressed in a hurry. I'll be there in 30 minutes. Hang tight, brother. While waiting for Jerome, I packed essentials, clothes, medications, important documents. I took Loren's photograph from my nightstand. If they were forcing me out, at least I'd take what mattered most. The doorbell rang exactly 28 minutes later. Jerome, hair disheveled, determined expression. I called a judge friend. He's processing an emergency protective order, but it won't be ready until tomorrow morning. By then, it could be too late. I know. That's why I brought this. Jerome pulled a small camera from his briefcase. We'll place it here to record the entrance. And this, he handed me a device the size of a lighter. Voice recorder. Keep it in your pocket always. We spent an hour preparing for every scenario. Jerome insisted on staying, sleeping on my sofa to be present when Deandra arrived. Neither of us expected them at 3:42 in the morning. Loud banging on the door woke us both. Jerome sprang from the sofa. I came out of my room, terrified but determined. Police! Open the door. Jerome and I exchanged glances. We hadn't anticipated this. Just a moment. Jerome shouted, gesturing for me to activate the camera and recorder. When we opened the door, 2 police officers, Deandra, Jasmine, and 2 burly men in white uniforms, orderlies. Just like Zara said. What's going on? Jerome asked. You know what time it is? One officer stepped forward. We have an order to transfer Mr. Marcus Washington to a medical facility for evaluation and care. That's false, Jerome interjected. The court order is for an evaluation at 10 this morning, not a forced transfer in the middle of the night. Circumstances changed, Deandra said, stepping forward. We received a call from a neighbor reporting my father was having a violent episode. Breaking things, shouting. That's a lie, I exclaimed. I've been sleeping until you showed up. Officers, Jerome addressed them firmly. I'm Jerome Banks, Mr. Washington's attorney. This action is completely illegal. There's no evidence of any violent episode. The house is in perfect order, and my client was sleeping peacefully. The officers hesitated, looking between Deandra and Jerome. We have the order signed by Judge Bennett, one insisted. May I see it? Jerome requested. The officer handed him a document. Jerome examined it carefully under the hallway light. This order is forged, he declared. I know Judge Bennett's signature. This isn't it. The court seal is blurry, likely photocopied from another document. That's ridiculous, Jasmine exclaimed. This man is obstructing a legal procedure. Arrest him. Ma'am, we can't arrest someone for questioning a document's validity, the officer replied. Increasingly uncomfortable. Officer, Jerome said calmly, I suggest you verify this order's authenticity by calling the courthouse. Since that's impossible at this hour, the correct action would be postponing until morning when it can be confirmed. The younger officer nodded. He's right. We can't proceed if there are doubts. Deandra stepped forward, furious. My father needs help now. He's a danger to himself. Mr. Washington, the officer addressed me. Do you feel in danger or have thoughts of harming yourself? Absolutely not, officer. The only danger I feel comes from my son, who assaulted me 3 days ago. You can see the bruises. The officers exchanged glances. Look, Jerome pulled out his card. I'm an attorney with over 40 years of experience. This situation will be thoroughly investigated. If you proceed with this forced transfer based on a potentially forged order, you'll be making a grave mistake that could cost you your badges. That convinced them. I'm sorry, sir, the older officer told Deandra. We cannot proceed until we verify the order's authenticity. You'll have to wait until morning and follow proper channels. This is unbelievable. Deandra slammed his fist against the wall. He's my father. I have the right. No, you don't, I responded firmly. I'm an adult in full possession of my faculties. You know it. This isn't for my well-being. It's for my money, my house, my shop. The orderlies, silent until now, exchanged uncomfortable glances. They told us it was advanced dementia, one murmured. This man seems perfectly lucid. Of course I'm lucid. This is a farce orchestrated by my son and his wife to seize my assets and pay their debts. Deandra glared with pure hatred. This isn't over, Pops. I'll get that order, and I'll get you out whether you like it or not." "That's enough," the officer intervened. "Everyone out. Mr. Washington, close your door. If anyone tries to enter without authorization, call 911. Deandra, Jasmine, and the orderlies left, shooting furious glares. The officer stayed a moment longer. "Sir," the younger one said, "I recommend seeking legal protection first thing tomorrow." "He already has it," Jerome replied, hand on my shoulder. "I'll personally ensure this doesn't happen again." When everyone left, I collapsed onto the sofa, trembling. I can't believe they went this far. My own son. Jerome sat beside me. "Marcus, this is serious. They're desperate. Desperate people are dangerous. We can't stay here waiting for their next move." "What do you suggest?" "At dawn, we go straight to the courthouse with tonight's recordings. We'll request an emergency protective order. Meanwhile, you should consider staying somewhere they can't easily find you. Run from my own home? Hide like a criminal? Not like a criminal, Marcus. Like someone protecting himself." Jerome looked at me hard. "Deandra will be back. Next time he might not fail." I looked around the house where I'd lived my entire adult life, where I'd raised my son, where I'd loved my wife until their last day. Abandoning it broke my heart, but Jerome was right. I wasn't safe here. All right. But first, I need to know Zara will be okay. I'm worried what they might do to her. We'll handle that too. Jerome checked his watch. "It's almost 5. Try to rest. At 8, we're moving." I went to my room knowing I wouldn't sleep. My world had crumbled in days, and the worst was still coming at 7:15 that morning. Police arrived at my house with a legitimate court order to transfer me to Pinewood Rest Facility. Deandra, Jasmine, and the facility's director, Dr. Morrison, accompanied them. "We have a court order for immediate transfer of Mr. Marcus Washington." An officer announced despite Jerome's protests, this order was valid. Real signature, proper seal. I picked up my suitcase, adding Lorraine's photograph, and was taken by ambulance to Pinewood Rest, an elegant complex with high fences and guards at the entrance. They processed me like a criminal. Photos, fingerprints, identification wristband. I was assigned a small but clean room. That afternoon, an older woman knocked. "I'm Betty Miller. Your neighbor? Family?" I asked. "My son and daughter-in-law. They want my brownstone in Harlem. Brought me down here to Atlanta." She sat on my bed uninvited. "It's the most common story here, honey. Dr. Morrison has an arrangement with families. They pay, he makes sure we never leave. That's illegal. Everything's documented to look legitimate. You complain, they increase your medication until you're like a zombie." In the dining room, I met Mr. Peterson, a former bank executive committed by his daughter, and Mrs. Jenkins, a retired professor so heavily medicated she barely reacted. "What they do here borders on criminal," Mr. Peterson warned. "But without proof, we're stuck." A young orderly named Travis secretly handed me a cell phone. My grandmother was in a place like this. They kept her drugged while her savings disappeared. "Use this carefully." I called Jerome immediately. "We need proof, Marcus. Without evidence, it's your word against doctors." The next day, Betty handed me a USB drive, copies of internal records, falsified diagnoses, altered records, payments from families including your son's. I hid it in the frame of Lorraine's photograph. That night, Dr. Morrison ordered liquid medication for me impossible to spit out. Fortunately, Travis provided an emetic that would eliminate it. Jerome was coming tomorrow. My plan was to give him the USB drive during his visit. It was my only hope to escape and reclaim my life. But I had to survive. Tonight first, the nurse arrived with a small cup of clear liquid. "Your medication, Mr. Washington." I took the cup, brought it to my lips. "I need to see you swallow Dr. Morrison's orders." I had no choice. I swallowed the liquid, feeling it burn down my throat. "Very good. Rest well." When she left, I waited 10 minutes, then took Travis's emetic. The next 20 minutes were miserable, but when finished, I felt more lucid. The drowsiness had lifted. I washed my face and returned to bed. Needing rest for tomorrow, thought my meeting with Jerome could be my only chance to escape and reclaim everything they'd stolen. As I drifted off, I thought of Zara's courage, Loren's wisdom, and Diandre's betrayal. Tomorrow would be the decisive day. Either I'd give Jerome the USB drive, and he'd use that evidence to free me, or I'd spend my remaining days confined here, watching my mind deteriorate under unnecessary medications. With that terrifying thought, I fell into restless sleep full of nightmares running through endless corridors, pursued by shadows with Diandre's and Dr. Morrison's faces. The next morning, I woke with a pounding headache, but a clear mind. The emetic had worked. I was lucid, ready for Jerome's visit. At breakfast, Betty slid next to me in the dining hall. "You look alert this morning," she whispered. "Good. You'll need it. Dr. Morrison knows your attorney's coming today. He's planning something." "What kind of something?" "I don't know exactly, but Travis heard him on the phone with your son. They're worried about what you might say." My stomach tightened. I have to get that USB drive to Jerome. It's our only shot. "Be careful," Betty warned. "They monitor every visit. Sometimes they cut them short if they don't like what they hear." After breakfast, I was escorted back to my room to prepare for my visitor. A nurse I hadn't seen before came in with a tray. "Mr. Washington, Dr. Morrison wants you to take this before your visit. It'll help calm your nerves." "I'm not nervous." "Doctor's orders, sir." Her smile was firm, not friendly. I looked at the pill in the small cup. If I took it, I'd be too foggy to communicate with Jerome. If I refused, they'd note my non-compliance and possibly cancel the visit altogether. Can I take it with my lunch instead? My stomach's been upset. She hesitated. "I'll check with the doctor." She left, and I had maybe 5 minutes. I grabbed Laurent's photograph, carefully extracted the USB drive from the frame, and slipped it into my sock. If they searched me, they'd check pockets, not socks. The nurse returned. "Doctor says you can take it after your visit, but if you become agitated, we'll have to administer it immediately." "I understand." At 10 o'clock sharp, I was led to the visiting room, a sterile space with tables bolted to the floor and cameras in every corner. Jerome was already there, along with Deandra and Dr. Morrison. My heart sank. This wasn't supposed to be a group meeting. "Mr. Banks," Dr. Morrison said smoothly, extending his hand to Jerome. "Thank you for coming. We thought it would be productive to have a family meeting to discuss Mr. Washington's care plan." Jerome's jaw tightened, but he kept his composure. I understood this was to be a private consultation with my client. Given the family dynamics, we felt a collaborative approach would be best. Dr. Morrison gestured to the chairs. "Please, let's all sit." I looked at Jerome, who gave me a subtle nod. We had to play along. We sat me and Jerome on one side, Deandra and Dr. Morrison on the other. An orderly stood by the door. "Pops, you look good," Deandra said, his voice dripping with false concern. "Are they treating you well?" "I'd be better at home." "In my own house." "Now, Mr. Washington," Dr. Morrison interjected, "we've discussed this. Your evaluation shows clear signs of cognitive decline, paranoid ideation, confusion about your son's intentions. There's nothing confused about my thinking." I interrupted. "My son is trying to steal my property to pay his debts." "That's not paranoia. That's fact, you see?" Deandre looked at Dr. Morrison. This is exactly what I've been dealing with. These unfounded accusations. Jerome leaned forward. Dr. Morrison, I'd like to review the evaluation results you're referencing. As Mr. Washington's legal counsel, I'm entitled to see all medical documentation. Of course. I'll have copies prepared. But I can summarize. Mr. Washington scored poorly on memory tests, showed aggressive tendencies, and demonstrated an inability to manage his own affairs. That's a lie, I said firmly. I've done no such thing. Your denial is part of the symptomatology, Dr. Morrison replied smoothly. Jerome pulled out a notepad. I'd like the names of the specialists who conducted these evaluations. I conducted them myself. On board certified in geriatric psychiatry. I see. And how long have you been affiliated with Pinewood Rest? 12 years. I'm also the facility director. So you have a financial interest in keeping beds filled. Dr. Morrison's smile tightened. I have an interest in providing quality care. Marcus, Jerome turned to me. How have you been feeling physically? Any medications making you drowsy or confused? This was my opening. They tried to give me liquid medication last night. Something to help me rest. But standard protocol for new residents, Dr. Morrison cut in. Helps with the adjustment period. I didn't feel like I needed adjusting, I said. I felt fine until I got here. Deandra shifted in his seat. Pops, you're in the best place. Mom would want you to be cared for properly. Don't you dare bring your mother into this. Lorraine would be sick knowing what you're doing. That's enough, Deandra snapped, his mask slipping. You're being unreasonable, as always. Gentlemen, Dr. Morrison raised his hands. Let's keep this civil. Mr. Washington, your son loves you. He's trying to ensure your safety and well-being. By locking me up? By stealing my house? By providing appropriate care? Dr. Morrison stood. I think that's enough for today. Mr. Washington is becoming agitated. We should end this visit. Wait, Jerome stood too. I need a moment alone with my client. That's my legal right. Dr. Morrison hesitated. 5 minutes. With supervision. Attorney-client privilege requires privacy. This is a medical facility. We have protocols. And I have legal standing. 5 minutes. Private. Or I'll file a motion this afternoon citing violation of my client's constitutional rights. The two men stared at each other. Finally, Dr. Morrison nodded to the orderly. 5 minutes. The orderly stays outside. Deandra started to protest, but Dr. Morrison touched his arm. Let them talk. It won't change anything. They left, and the door closed. Jerome immediately leaned close. Marcus, I don't have much time. Do you have anything for me? I glanced at the cameras and bent down as if adjusting my shoe. I slipped the USB drive from my sock and palmed it. When I straightened, I reached out to shake Jerome's hand, passing him the drive. Everything you need is on there, I whispered. Betty Miller got it from the internal files. Falsified records, payments from families, including Deandra's. Jerome pocketed the drive smoothly. How are you really doing? They're trying to drug me, but I've been avoiding it. A young orderly named Travis has been helping. Jerome, you've got to get me out of here. I don't know how long I can hold out. I'm filing an emergency writ this afternoon. This evidence should be enough to get you released and launch an investigation into Pinewood. What about Zara? I'm worried about her. I made contact. She's okay, but they're watching her closely. Once I get you out, we'll address her situation too. The door opened. Dr. Morrison stood there with Deandra. Time's up. Jerome stood, giving my shoulder a squeeze. Hang in there, brother. This isn't over. As they led me back to my room, I felt a surge of hope. Jerome had the evidence. Soon this nightmare would end. But I underestimated how desperate Deandra had become. That evening, Dr. Morrison came to my room personally. "Mr. Washington, I'm afraid we need to make some adjustments to your treatment plan. You've been non-compliant with medications, and your behavior today was quite agitated." I wasn't agitated. I was defending myself. Unfortunately, that's not how the clinical notes reflected. He pulled a syringe from his pocket. "This will help you rest. It's in your best interest." "I don't want it." "It's not optional." He called for the orderly. 2 large men entered my room. I backed against the wall. "This is illegal. You can't force me. You're under psychiatric hold, Mr. Washington. We're authorized to administer necessary medications." They grabbed my arms. I struggled, but at 71, I was no match for 2 young men. Dr. Morrison approached with the syringe. "Wait," I shouted. "My attorney will hear about this. He's filing papers right now. Your attorney has no authority here." Dr. Morrison prepared to inject me. The door burst. "Open. Step away from my client, now." Jerome stood there with 2 police officers and a woman in a business suit. Dr. Morrison froze. "What's the meaning of this? You can't just barge in here. Judge Taylor issued an emergency order 1 hour ago." Jerome held up a document. "Marcus Washington is to be released immediately pending a full investigation into Pinewood Rest Facility." The woman stepped forward. "I'm Agent Patricia Simmons with the Georgia Department of Health. Dr. Morrison. This facility is now under state investigation for elder abuse, fraud, and falsification of medical records." Dr. Morrison's face went pale. "This is absurd. I run a legitimate. Save it for your attorney." Agent Simmons turned to the orderlies. "Release Mr. Washington." They let go of my arms immediately. Jerome came to my side. "You all right, Marcus?" "I am now." My voice shook with relief and exhaustion. "Gather your things. We're getting you out of here." As I packed my small bag, I saw Betty in the hallway, tears streaming down her face. "Thank you," she mouthed. "We'll get you out too," I promised. "All of you." Agent Simmons was already interviewing Betty and Mr. Peterson in the hallway. More state officials were arriving. Outside, the late afternoon sun hit my face. I'd only been in Pinewood for 3 days, but it felt like a lifetime. Jerome led me to his car. "We're going to your house. I've arranged for a patrol car to be stationed there until this is resolved." "What about Deandra?" "He's being picked up as we speak." The USB drive had everything proof he paid Dr. Morrison $50,000 to keep you committed. Falsified psychiatric evaluations. Even recordings of phone conversations planning your institutionalization. My heart broke and soared at the same time. My son, my own son, and Zara? I contacted Child Protective Services. Given the circumstances, they're monitoring the situation. Jasmine's mother is staying with them temporarily. When we arrived at my house, I saw Zara sitting on my front steps. She jumped up when she saw me, running into my arms. "Granddad?" "Oh my God, Granddad." I held her tight, tears flowing freely now. "I'm okay, baby girl. I'm home." I was so scared. I thought she couldn't finish. Just held me tighter. Jerome gave us privacy, speaking with the patrol officers. Inside my house, everything looked exactly as I'd left it. Loren's chair, my books, the photos on the walls. Zara sat next to me on the sofa. "What happens now?" "Your daddy's going to face consequences for what he did. I don't know exactly what yet, but Jerome says the evidence is strong." I heard Mom on the phone. She's trying to blame everything on Dad, saying she didn't know what he was planning. I sighed. Probably trying to save herself. "Do you hate him?" "Dad, I thought about that. Did I hate my son?" No, baby girl. I don't hate him. I'm disappointed. I'm hurt. But he's still my son. He made terrible choices because he was desperate and scared. That doesn't excuse what he did, but I understand he's still human, still capable of redemption. Would you forgive him? Someday. Not today, but someday. Over the next 3 months, everything unraveled. Deandra was arrested and charged with elder abuse, fraud, and conspiracy. The evidence was overwhelming: the USB drive, the falsified documents, witness testimonies from Betty, Mr. Peterson, and Travis. His attorney worked out a plea deal: 2 years in prison with possibility of parole, restitution of all legal fees and damages, and mandatory counseling. I could have pushed for more. Jerome wanted to. But I thought about Zara, about what a longer sentence would do to her. So I accepted the plea. Jasmine filed for divorce immediately, claiming she'd been manipulated by Deandra. The courts weren't sympathetic she'd been complicit enough. She lost the house in Buckhead, moved to a smaller apartment. Zara came to live with me. At 17, she was old enough to choose. Her grandmother had taught her well. She chose family. Real family. Pinewood Rest Facility was shut down. Dr. Morrison lost his medical license and faced criminal charges. Betty moved back to her brownstone in Harlem. Mr. Peterson reconciled with his daughter, who'd been horrified to learn the truth. Mrs. Jenkins sadly passed away 2 weeks after the facility closed. The years of unnecessary medication had taken their toll. Travis, the young orderly who'd helped me, got a job at a legitimate senior care center where his grandmother now lived. I wrote him a letter of recommendation. My barbershop reopened. Word spread about what had happened, and suddenly I had more customers than ever. People wanted to hear the story, wanted to support me. Zara worked weekends, sweeping hair, and chatting with customers. She'd been accepted early admission to Spelman College for journalism. Full scholarship. One Saturday evening, 3 months after everything ended, Zara and I sat on the back porch watching the sunset. You know what's weird? She said, I miss Dad, even after everything. That's not weird, baby girl. That's love. Real love doesn't disappear just because someone disappoints you. Have you talked to him? Once, last week. He called from prison. What did he say? He apologized, cried, said he was sorry for everything. I told him I'd visit next month. Zara looked at me, surprised. You're going to visit him? He's my son, and he's your father. We're going to visit him together, if you want. She thought about it, then nodded. Yeah, I'd like that. We sat in comfortable silence, watching the roses bloom in the garden, the same roses Lorraine had planted 20 years ago. Grandma would be proud of you, Zara said softly. The way you handled everything. You could have been bitter, angry, but you're not. Oh, I was angry. Still am sometimes. But your grandma used to say that carrying hate is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Life's too short for that. She was wise. She was. And she'd be proud of you, too. The way you stood up for what was right, even when it was hard. Zara leaned her head on my shoulder. I love you, Granddad. I love you too, baby girl. The next day, I was at the barbershop when a familiar car pulled up outside. Deandre's lawyer stepped out, followed by a woman I didn't recognize. They came inside, and the lawyer approached cautiously. Mr. Washington, I hope we're not intruding. This is Michelle Harper. She works with the Georgia Elder Justice Coalition. Michelle extended her hand. Mr. Washington, your case has brought significant attention to elder abuse issues in our state. We'd like to ask if you'd be willing to speak publicly about your experience. Speak publicly? Yes, sir. We're lobbying for stronger protections for seniors, stricter oversight of care facilities, and harsher penalties for financial exploitation. Your story, your willingness to fight back, could help change laws that protect thousands of people. I thought about Betty, about Mr. Peterson, about Mrs. Jenkins, who didn't survive long enough to enjoy her freedom. What would I have to do? Testify before the state legislature. Share your story. Help us show lawmakers why these changes are necessary. I looked around my barbershop, at the customers listening, at Zara sweeping in the corner, at the life I'd almost lost. I'll do it. Not just for me. For everyone who can't fight back. Michelle smiled. Thank you, Mr. Washington. You're going to make a real difference. 6 weeks later, I stood before the Georgia State Legislature, telling my story. The room was packed lawmakers, journalists, advocates, and survivors. I talked about DeAndre's betrayal, about Pinewood Rest, about the systematic abuse of vulnerable seniors. When I finished, the room erupted in applause. 3 months later, the Elder Protection Act passed strengthening oversight, increasing penalties, and requiring independent evaluations before any involuntary commitment. They called it Marcus's Law. 1 year after everything began, I visited DeAndre in prison. He looked different, humbled, older, broken. Pops, his voice cracked. I don't even know what to say. Start with the truth. Why'd you do it? He was silent for a long moment. I was drowning. The debt, the pressure to maintain this image. Jasmine kept pushing, saying your assets were just sitting there while we struggled. It started as just asking you to help. Then it became taking. Then it became ... double quotes. He couldn't finish. Taking everything. I'm so sorry, Pops. I know that's not enough. It'll never be enough. No, it's not enough. But it's a start. I leaned forward. DeAndre, you're my son. I love you. That doesn't mean I excuse what you did. But it means I'm not giving up on you. Tears rolled down his face. I don't deserve that. Probably not. But grace isn't about deserving. It's about love. Your mama taught me that. We talked for an hour. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet. But it was a beginning. When I left, Zara was waiting in the car. How was it? Hard, necessary. Will things ever be normal again? I thought about that question. Normal. What was normal? No, baby girl, things won't be normal. But maybe that's okay. Maybe we build something better than normal. Something real. She smiled. I like that. As we drove back to Atlanta, I thought about everything that had happened. The betrayal, the fight, the victory. But mostly I thought about what I'd learned. That family isn't just blood. It's who stands by you when everything falls apart. It's who fights for you when you can't fight for yourself. Zara was my family. Jerome was my family. Betty, Mr. Peterson, Travis, they were my family. And DeAndre? He was still my son. Still my blood. Still capable of redemption if he chose that path. 3 months ago, I'd been locked in a facility, stripped of my dignity, robbed of my freedom. My own son had put me there, but I'd survived. I'd fought back. I'd won. And now I was using that victory to help others. That evening, back at home, Zara was studying for midterms. I was reading in Loren's chair when my phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Mr. Washington? This is Sandra Chun. My mother is in a facility in Savannah. After hearing your story, I think something similar is happening to her. Can you help me? I looked at Loren's photograph on the mantel. She smiled back at me. Yes, ma'am. I can help. Tell me everything. This was my purpose now. My fight wasn't over. It was just beginning. Because if my story taught me anything, it's that silence enables abuse. Speaking up saves lives. And I wasn't going to be silent anymore. If my story moved you, hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And if you or someone you know is experiencing elder abuse, speak up. Get help. Fight back, because you're never too old to stand up for yourself. You're never too powerless to demand justice, and you're never alone in the fight. That's my story. That's my truth. And that's my promise. I'll keep fighting as long as there's someone who needs help, because that's what Lorraine would have wanted. That's what family does.